So we're here, it's day 2 at Lake Como. Today we're at Villa Urba, and BMW Group Classic has another event going on, and they moved all of the cars over here from Villa to Este. And again, I'm here with Tom Polzinski, who's head of everything BMW Classic in USA. And behind me, we have an F1 McLaren GTR. And the last time we were together, we were at Pebble Beach, and we had a similar car behind us.
We had a different chassis, but yes, another McLaren F1 GTR.
Yeah, and
powered by BMW.
And we call this the half, right?
We were talking about a half in another video. Yes, the half BMW, exactly.
So this is another special race car, similar to what we saw at Pebble Beach. Can you kind of break down the differences in this car and what makes this so special to be here with us?
Sure, absolutely. It'd be my pleasure. So this is a McLaren F1 GTR short tail, a 1996 model. It raced at Le Mans in 96. Our car that's owned by BMW North America also raced in 96. Our chassis is 17R. This is 11R. Unfortunately, it DNF'd, so it didn't finish the race at Le Mans in 96. And then it was sold and converted to a street car. So a high downforce street car, and then subsequently reverted back to its race setup and livery, and here it is on site. Oh, and in between that, it was a test mule for Mercedes-Benz's CLK prototypes.
The GT1, so the CLK GTR, exactly. Which is actually a road car over here off camera that's next to us.
Right. So this was a test mule for that. So it was, it needed to be restored back to.
And that was the car that Mercedes got. They put Mercedes engine in it.
Yes.
Correct? To test their engine in a car with this much downforce.
Exactly.
And this design, ultimately to compete with this car and the GT1 Porsche, I believe.
Exactly.
In era.
A little bit later on. Yeah.
Amazing.
Exactly. So now the car is back to its original state, the right color of orange, and it's a really beautiful car. Powered by a 6-liter BMW V12 that develops in this form 600 horsepower. The street version was a little bit more, but for racing it was restricted a little. Here it is on the show field, and a beautiful car with some very unique features. And we can see the headlights on it are these larger bubble lights, and they're designed so that you have a larger reflector, better lighting when you're driving down the Mulsanne Straight at 200 miles per hour. And you'll notice it's quite cross-eyed, right?
Yeah, they are.
Beams are going across, and that's to illuminate the apexes of the corners.
Yeah, and typically the lights are flat, like we've seen.
Correct,
and I believe you told me the story about the other car, which we had at Pebble Beach.
Right. And our car has the flat covers over, so the smaller.
But it raced with these lights. You told me.
It did in one of the races. It had the bubble lights, and they were removed because they're
can't drive with
they're
them.
Specific to Le Mans, and for the restoration of this car, it made sense to put them on because it's in its Le Mans livery.
Yeah, I mean, this is my favorite way to see these cars that raced at one time. They're back to when they were racing of the day that it raced, and it's so amazing to see all the stickers, all the lights, everything's correct. Just like if we went in time back to 96.
Yes, exactly. So it's beautiful to see this nicely restored car, and there are many detail changes between this car and ours. This is an earlier chassis, but because it's been converted to street cars, it's got things like door locks.
Oh, really?
Right, whereas the pure race cars wouldn't have something like that, and it has a parking brake inside the car, which.
And are these wheels? I think are different from what was on the.
No, those are exactly the same. They're a slightly different tint. Our car had a darker OZ wheel on it, but these ones are slightly lighter, and that's normal. That was up to the race team to decide what they wanted to do. One of the big changes, though, if you look at the valve cover on the car, and it's a little bit difficult through the rear here. These ones are black. On our car, they were blue, and that was kind of a psych that Team Bugazzi did on our cars, saying, because they were the factory team, they put blue valve covers on to make the competitors think that we had
something different.
Yeah, there was no difference. It was just the blue valve covers. But
this reminds me, even though it looks completely different, of kind of the long tail look, about how the back seems extended from the factory position.
Yes, but the long tails actually are quite a bit longer. They would come out another 1.5 feet from this. Absolutely stunning car, and certainly belongs on the lawn here. And it's in good company with a couple of
there's
competition F40.
I think it's a GTE F40, and then there's a Corsa. The MC12.
MC12, yes, and the CLK. So very
It's amazing.
Very
And it's so,
good grouping
I think
of
I've
cars.
maybe seen 5 McLarens based on going to Goodwood and being with you at
Right.
Pebble Beach, and this one, and this is definitely one of my favorite because it looks like it's papaya, which is the McLaren race color.
Right.
And a lot of people do street cars, but it's just cool to see them, and there's so many forms of these cars, racing and long tail and short. And
there are only 28 GTRs, right,
Yeah.
of all types. So to see 4 or 5 of them is pretty,
Yeah.
in your lifetime,
Lucky.
is probably
Yeah.
pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure.
And to see this one up close and look at it, all its details, you know, it's almost a 30-year-old car.
Yeah.
And it's still one of the most stunning.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell someone that knew nothing that this is a brand new car for this year, and they would believe it.
Believe you.
100%.
And I can tell you one thing from having been in one of these and driven one, the sound of the intake that's right over your head is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You hear the exhaust, that 6-liter V12 just sounds so amazing when it's at full throttle.
All right, Tom. Well, thanks a lot for walking us around. I think you're probably the person that knows the most about these McLarens here
Oh,
today.
I don't know about that, but maybe
but,
today.
but that I have access to.
Yeah, exactly.
But thanks a lot. I really appreciate it, and it's amazing to see this, an amazing event put on by BMW Group Classic, and we're really excited to be here.
Glad to be here.